what's up everybody? George here and welcome to the T-Rex 450 Sport Super Combo build number 3. This will probably be the last of the build series. I hope to have everything totally done at the end of this video and ready to start tuning it in. In build video number 2, we completed the basic assembly and got everything ready to receive electronics. Once again, we stressed use your Loctite in any bolt going into metal. And you know, it may seem like I'm a little paranoid about the Loctite, but that's just because, well, I am. I mean, I'm going to be responsible for enough dumb thumb accidents on my own. I don't need any mechanical failures adding to that. So I am making sure that I Loctite everything. And with that in mind, SRAT 110 gave me an excellent suggestion, which is to put a little dab of CA glue on all of the bolts going into plastic. He said that it'll be easy to take off, but it will hold them in, and more importantly, you won't tend to torque them down and possibly strip them out. So, great suggestion there. So, what we're going to do is get on with the electronics, so let's not waste any more time and finish up this build.
Okay, we got the first part of electronics installed done. That was the servos. Simply followed the instructions, put them in just like it said. No big deal at all. What you wind up doing is installing what they call plastic nuts in the elongated holes here where the servos are going to go. You secure the servos in with self-tappers. No Loctite necessary. Look at the drawings and I'll tell you how to put the servos in the frame. It's pretty straightforward. When you're putting on the control arms, you will want to use a little Loctite on the bolt that holds the control arm in, as well as putting on Loctite on the ball joints. Make sure you watch the orientation of the ball joints. The two front ones point in toward the frame. The one in the back on the inside points out. And of course the tail servo has the star and I have 0 pointing up. It's pretty straightforward. The next thing I'm going to do is measure up and make up some links, install the links onto the helicopter, and we'll be ready to move on. Okay, we're back. And the next part of the electronics installation is actually a little bit of mechanical, and that's the links between the swash plate and the servo arms. I simply built the 3 links. I made them to the length specified in the manual. That would be 10 millimeters, 17 millimeters, and 21.5 millimeters. Pretty much a no-brainer. I made the links, and then I went ahead and I connected up the links between the swash plate and the servo arms. One thing that you want to remember when you're connecting up your links is that the letter is always going to want to face out away from the ball. So for example, on this top link here, the letter is going to be facing out. On the bottom one, the letter is going to be facing in toward the frame because it's going on reversed. So just something to keep in mind. It went together pretty simple, and there's one thing I want to mention at this point. I'm not going to go out and try to fly this thing now. I know I'm going to have to go back and set my sub trim and level my servo arms and level my swash plate and set the pitch. All this is just getting it close by eye, close enough for me to go ahead and plug it in and start making some adjustments. I'll probably do another video on a setup and tune in, but for this series right here, I'm just going to get it close. The swash plate looks amazingly level just using the length specified in the manual. I'm sure it's not perfect. I'll go back and I'll make some adjustments as need be. But the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and install the gyro and the ESC, and we'll come back and talk after that. Okay, we've got the electronics installed and the wires ran. It wasn't any big deal. It was just a matter of placement. Before I go any further, just let me say that there's 1,000 ways to wire this thing up. Everybody has an opinion. I chose to go with HeliTuning's approach. I put the ESC on the side, gyro in the back, and the radio up underneath the battery tray. It made the wiring pretty simple. Once again, you can do it a whole bunch of different ways, and the great thing is that if I don't like it and I want to change it, I haven't cut any wires, I haven't changed the length of any wires. I simply replace a couple of zip ties and that's it. So I don't know if this is the way it's going to stay, but that's the way it is for now, and that pretty much finishes her up. All we have to do now is install the rotor blades and put the canopy on, and we'll do that and come back and give our closing thoughts on this build. Okay, here it is, completely done. I've gone ahead and installed the rotor blades, installed the canopy, and at this point the build process is complete. Now I'm going to have to go in and do all of my fine tuning and setup, all that's expected, and I'll probably do another video on that as well. But as far as the build is concerned, it is done. Overall, the build went extremely well. I had very little problems. The best thing was all the people on the net that were willing to give me a hand, share their opinions. Shout out to everybody out there that made videos that helped me with this build. Overall, I'm very, very satisfied with the way it went, and I can't wait to get her tuned in and take her out for her first flight. So stay tuned for more videos, and as always, happy flying!